Warning: due to the highly polarizing nature of this presentation, it may be considered disturbing and extremely offensive to feminists, pickup artists, social justice warriors, and women haters.
Hi, I'm Lawrence Lanoff, and right here, right now, I'm going to let you in on a blistering secret about female lust. Man-hating feminists and sleazy pickup artists are terrified you'll find out. A secret which will give you the power to make even the nicest, most conservative, and most innocent girl come like a freight train on command, and without even touching her. It literally doesn't matter how repulsive to women you are, how much money you make, or even how often you take a bath. If you just listen to what I have to say, like a growing army of guys have already, you'll be spreading feminine thighs on command. In fact, if you're a guy between 20 and 73 and you aren't sleeping with at least 3 different women a week, you're not just letting yourself down. You're disappointing every one of your male ancestors for thousands of years who would kill to have the sexual opportunity you've just had dropped in your lap. Who the hell am I to make such huge promises and such crazy claims? Like I said, my name is Lawrence Lanoff. I'm 50 years old, skinny, bald, and I've got a completely average cock. And in order to tell you how you're going to open the door to abundant, incredible sex with a ton of eager women, I have to tell you about the most humiliating moment of my entire life. And how the feminists winning the battle of the sexes is the best damn thing to happen to your cock since you first learned to masturbate. Warning, if you've ever been rejected by a girl, what I'm about to tell you may trigger feelings of embarrassment and rage in you. But whatever you do, it's incredibly important you don't stop watching until you hear the whole story. "Get away from me, you creep," she screamed in disgust. Suddenly, I felt my testicles crawl back up into my body, and a flood of nausea and panic pulsed through me as every head in Trader Joe's whipped in our direction. She was hot, gorgeous actually. A 28-year-old brunette in tight yoga pants with the most beautiful pair of gravity-defying all-natural D-cup tits I've ever seen. 5 minutes ago, I'd seen her giving the broccoli a hard-on in the vegetable department. And when she walked away, I caught the scent of her and felt something hungry rise up in me as I imagined her naked and writhing and moaning my name. I knew I had to talk to her before she left the store, and it was too late, or I'd regret it for the rest of my sexual life. She was in the bread aisle when I found her again, bent over at the waist so I could get lost in her ass and thighs and delicious toned calves. Her hands were caressing a loaf of gluten-free BS whatever in a way that made my heart pound and my mouth go dry. I took a deep breath, gathered my confidence, walked up to her, smiling and friendly, and with no hint at all at the pornography she'd inspired in my mind. Suddenly, her eyes flashed to mine like a deer in the woods. She parted her wet lips. I watched her incredible breasts rise and fall as she took a long, deep breath of her own, and that's when she screamed and destroyed my world. I could only appreciate the incredible favor she'd done me months later. My neck spasmed. My jaw went tight like a bear trap. I was just going to tell her how beautiful she looked. How it was women like her who made me so happy to be a man, so happy to be alive when... "I said get the hell away from me," she screamed, even louder this time, like a heavy metal guitar solo blasting in my ear. And that's when I noticed the pack of scantily clad sorority girls staring at me like I was some kind of monster. The steroid-upped musclehead in the shredded tank top flexing his pecs like he couldn't wait to prove his masculinity and kick my ass. The fat security guard fingering his radio like it was Dirty Harry's revolver and reporting an assault for who knows who to hear. And then I almost cried as I felt the handcuffs snap closed around my wrists. Strong hands dragged me by the arm like some 12-year-old boy caught throwing rocks at recess. I had hours to kill before things got sorted out. Hours to think. To torture myself for being so stupid as to walk up to a pretty girl in public in emasculated America. To feel ashamed. To make a decision that would change everything, not just for me, but for thousands of guys around the world just like you. I was so angry. Not at her, not even at our PC society that treats men like dogs just for being guys, but at myself. There I was, a fully grown man who loves women, who would rather kill myself than ever hurt a woman, and in 3 terrible seconds, the girl in the yoga pants made me feel like a rapist. When they released me, no charges after they saw the security tape, I went home and stared at myself in the mirror. And I saw what I always saw. A nice guy. A good guy. So why did she scream when I just wanted to say hello? Why was it so wrong for me to want to talk to her? To want to make love to her? Why did I suddenly feel so disgusting? Laying in bed that night, I spent hours not sleeping, rubbing my wrists where the handcuffs had dug into them, tasting bile in my throat when I thought about what had happened, not just to me, but to men everywhere. I thought about the never-ending torrent of news stories about creepy guys who dared to look at a woman with lust. Militant feminists celebrating the death of men. How more and more guys are flunking out of college. How all the powerful jobs are going to women. How having a dick is becoming a societal handicap. I thought about guys in Japan and around the world giving up, deciding they'd rather be celibate for life than become the emasculated lapdogs the world is trying to turn them into. And then I thought of all the women I knew. Women who are lonely and horny and scared. Women who wake up every morning wondering why they can't find real men anymore. Who settle for metrosexual shadows of masculinity, while us real guys are treated like dogs. Laying there, I realized something shocking and terrible, and wonderful too. I realized the feminist nightmare had come true, and that men and women had been brainwashed into sexual misery. And I knew I was at a crossroads when it came to me and women and sex. I knew when I got out of bed in the morning I could do one of three things that would change how women looked at me and treated me forever. One, I could blame her. I could call her a crazy bitch. I could become one of those guys who uses rejection as an excuse to become a woman hater and an asshole, who harasses girls online just to feel okay. I could see the rising power of women as a curse. I could bitch and moan and become the monster I was already being treated like. Two, I could blame myself. I could learn to hate myself for being born with a cock. I could become one of those sensitive guys who thinks respecting women means treating women like they hate sex, who thinks his totally natural masculine urges are disgusting and wrong, who lines up to be emasculated, hoping to be lucky enough to get a blowjob once every couple years. Three, or I could see the feminist nightmare as the incredible opportunity it is. I could choose to learn the truth about women and sex. What women really want from men, but refuse to tell us. Why they say one thing, but mean another. Why nice guys like me get rejected and abused again and again, while douchebags get laid as easily as going to the ATM. I know, this sounds wrong. But I could choose to get revenge. Not on her, but on the world that had transformed desire and sex into something dirty and shameful. The next day, I woke up early, my heart pounding. Recovering from a nightmare of a world without testosterone, my mission pulsing through my veins. I cracked open my laptop and I got to work searching for the truth. But quickly, I got frustrated and then angry. All over the internet, I found books and articles and videos from sleazy pickup artist type guys saying they'd figured out how to trick drunk girls into screwing them. And violent screeds by so-called feminists talking about so-called male privilege and then the evils of the penis and how men as we know them were dying off, and that was a good thing. But I didn't want to learn how to manipulate women. And I didn't want to learn to hate myself, to cut off my own balls and put them in some girl's purse. I didn't want to learn how to change myself into something I hated. I wanted to learn how to make women want me, to look at me the way I looked at them. To fantasize about me, to connect with me, to screw the living hell out of the real me, giggle when I slap them on the ass, come back for seconds and bring their gorgeous friends and thank me for being a man. Only when that happened would I feel like I'd gotten my revenge on our messed up society. Would I feel like I was a man again, in a world where men are an endangered species, where men are treated like we're bad and wrong. The next few months were a rush of mind-bending revelations, as everything I'd been tricked into believing about women and sex was shredded like a sacred cow in a wood chipper. The first idea I had to murder was a big one I'd been spoon-fed since I was a kid. The idea that women don't like sex, that a woman was doing you a favor when she slept with you. I saw one simple statistic that blew that one out of the water. In 1963, the population of the world was 3,201,178,277. Today, it's over 7 billion, and it's headed for 10 billion by 2050. So ask yourself, if women don't like sex, how the heck did the population of the world double in just 50 years? Why did 50 Shades of Grey soak the panties of hundreds of millions of women around the world? Why is the vibrator industry a $15 billion business? Why is it that every #1 bestseller on the Amazon Kindle is another story about an innocent woman being taken and ravished by a strong man again and again and again? I'll tell you right now, the answer is pretty easy. It's because despite everything you've been told, women don't like sex. They love it. The truth is, most women walk around every day horny as hell, fantasizing about sex even more than us guys do, waiting with bated breath for the right guy to come along and fulfill her dirty, delicious fantasies, to open her to the connected, erotic pleasure she only dreams her body is capable of, only to go home every night to snuggle up to her vibrating rabbit, wondering if she'll ever have a strong, respectful guy in her bed and in her again. Okay, I know what you're thinking right now because I used to think it too. If women are really that horny, they are, why aren't you knee-deep in eager, thrusting female flesh every single night? And the answer is psychologically weird and very important, so I need you to listen closely. It's because no matter how dissatisfied a woman is with the devastating emasculation of men, no matter how much she craves your strong hands on her, your teeth nibbling her throat, your weight on top of her, she can never, ever admit it to you or any other man. Why? 3 confusing but powerful reasons. 1, women are petrified of rejection, even more than us guys are. In fact, since most women never make the first move, even one rejection could leave her catatonic and giving up on great sex for a week. 2, women have been taught that only sluts want sweaty, passionate, animalistic sex with men. And admitting what every cell in her body yearns for could destroy her reputation and even ruin her life if it gets out on social media. Fear of rejection and shame alone are enough to make hot girls very careful about how they choose the men they sexually surrender themselves to. Which brings us to the third reason, the most important of them all. 3, to avoid rejection, to avoid being judged. When it comes to sex and lust and connection and pure physical pleasure, women speak in a secret code most men are biologically incapable of understanding. A code where a certain tilt of the head means, I want you to take me, and where whispering the right coded words instantly spreads her legs almost like magic, with her smiling the whole time like it's her idea. The fact is, knowing this secret sexual language lets you tune into a woman's broadcast sexuality and follow the signal back to carnal delights beyond even the most pornographic imagination. Now, I didn't discover this language of lust by accident. It was the holy grail at the end of a personal mission that took me years to complete as I learned and tested and tried again and again with dozens and dozens of amazing girls. All the while watching more and more guys who didn't know this secret bathe in an endless stream of rejection and anger and shame. Accomplishing my mission to learn the secrets of female lust was difficult and even painful. After weeks of digging, I found a romance novel millionaire on a forum, called her up, and discovered the incredible primal ravishment fantasy, secretly carried around by good girls all over the world. I went to Las Vegas and interviewed a straight professional male prostitute. I was shocked at how out of shape and normal looking he was. But this fat little gigolo taught me the Fort Knox phrase that had women ripping open their purses and paying to have sex with him while so many other guys can't get laid to save their lives. I got 5 of my best female friends drunk and listened like my life depended on it, as they went into exquisite detail about the many times they dropped the good girl act and gave a random dude the ride of his life, while forcing the nice guys they were dating to wait for weeks and weeks just to get half a hand job. What shocked me even more was when they told me about the times they wanted to go home with a guy and were devastated when he didn't know the passion password, which would let her finally drop the act, cut loose, and give in to her urgent sexual need. I interviewed psychology professors, sat in on women's studies courses, read smut written by women, learned linguistic triggers women refused to ignore. And then, with all of this sexual magic buzzing around in my brain, I sat down at my laptop and boiled everything I'd learned and discovered into 33 powerful tricks, techniques, and phrases which wake up the animal in a woman, make her feel safe and open with you, and only you, and fixes her sexual hunger on you, right where it belongs. Sitting exhausted at my desk, I looked at what I'd created. It wasn't a book, or a course, or anything like that. It was a survival guide for regular guys to live, get laid, and get a girlfriend, if you want, in the devastating ruins of the sexual revolution. It was an owner's manual for a woman's most important erogenous zone, her mind and her imagination. A few weeks later, I ran into her again, the beautiful brunette in the tight yoga pants. The girl I thought had been flirting with me, but who had screamed to protect her reputation when I stupidly made the wrong move. I was smarter this time. I saw her in a park near where I live in an industrial-strength sports bra, creating an epic canyon of cleavage. I made sure not to get too close, not to approach her and say something stupid like some pickup artist. I sat down on a bench 10 feet away and admired her astonishing body. I imagined my tongue on that little spot where her hip and leg connect. She was glistening with sweat when she finished and looked my way. There was a moment of recognition, a moment when things could go very right or very, very wrong. I felt dizzy, scared, like I was jumping off a bridge and I wasn't sure if the bungee cord was tight. But in a totally casual tone, I said it. The lust mirror phrase I'd discovered. I knew it worked when her pupils dilated, when her nipples hardened, when her hips tilted toward me, when she smiled. She wiggled over to me, sat down on the bench to put her shoes on, inches away so I could feel her heat, inhale that intoxicating smell of her. She forgot to tie her shoes as we talked for almost an hour in low voices like lovers. Me whispering little tricks and techniques I'd discovered, her inching closer and closer until her foot hooked around mine like a hug or an invitation. And then she made the move. Her hand on my thigh, her lips against mine, her tongue snaking its way into my mouth, her body writhing against me, desperate to have me inside. In the hours we spent together, I took control of her fantasies. Whispered naughty words in her ear that made goosebumps rise on her back. Stroked her ego, teased her, made her feel feminine and open and vulnerable and safe to unleash her passion with no fear of being judged or rejected. And in return, she surrendered everything to me. She tore down all her walls, opened herself to me, begged to fulfill my fantasies and me to fulfill hers, gave me intense pleasure again and again that lit every cell of my body on fire and left me exhausted and satisfied and happy and feeling like a man in a way I never thought I could feel. At one point, she whispered, "I love you," as she came. I knew she didn't mean it. I knew she meant she loved how I was making her feel, how no other man had ever made her feel. The next morning, we woke up in a tangle of wet sheets and smiles. "I don't know what came over me," she sighed, and she stretched contentedly. "I'm not a slut or anything, you know. I don't usually do this sort of thing. There was just something irresistible about you. I couldn't help myself." I smiled wolfishly at her excuse. Grabbed her ass, thought about when I'd let her have me again. I told my best friend Rob everything at lunch in Santa Monica that day. He looked at me like a starving man finds a truckload of donuts and said, "Give me the damned words right now." I laughed until I saw how serious he was. His fingers were clenching the table, his knuckles white. I wasn't sure at first. I'd worked my ass off to create this thing. Was it really something I wanted to share, especially when there were so many women I wanted to share it with myself? He's my best friend. How could I say no? At midnight, I got a picture and a text from Rob. The picture was a woman with a smile across her face, like she'd won the orgasm lottery. The text was in all caps with a huge smiley emoticon, saying, "Oh my God, your Pavlov's panty drencher thing is genius and really works. Thank you, thank you, thank you." I guess I should have known better than to trust him with this. Rob never could keep a secret. Because suddenly things got crazy as guys started to call me up, email me, and beg. Without even thinking about it, I doled out just a few of my techniques to guys I knew. Some barely 20, some in their 70s. And again, they raved about how it was like flipping the sex switch in their wives' or girlfriends' or a complete stranger's brain. And how a whole new sexual universe just opened up once you learned these simple words. Words which obliterate all the BS the media spoon-feeds women and gives her permission to treat you as her personal sex toy with no shame, no holding back, and absolutely no regret. And of course, I got to enjoy the fruits of my labors too. An army of incredible women bending over backwards, literally, to experience what I'd discovered for themselves. More than a few times, I held a beautiful woman while she was post-orgasmically sobbing, astonished at the depths of sexuality she suddenly discovered in herself. Somewhere along the way, the guys who got a hold of this information started calling it the language of lust, with a wink and a smile. And it stuck, because that's what this is, the secret erotic language of the feminine mind. The secret language that lets her know you're a real man in a sea of douchebags, wimps, and defeated little boys. Which brings us to now, and brings us to you, and whether you're going to be allowed to learn the language of lust too. But before we go any further, and you find out if this is for you, you need to understand. This isn't just a power, it's a responsibility. Once you learn to tease and turn on and torment a woman this secret way, you'll be able to give her a more intense, pleasurable, connected, and erotic experience, sitting at a table at a restaurant, acting completely innocent as far as everyone around you is concerned, than her ex-boyfriend could in a whole, sweaty, naked weekend. I know, this sounds almost supernatural. But this isn't magic. It's science. It's chemistry, because the dirty, astonishing words and phrases you're about to learn have been psychologically designed to hit the feminine mind like a drug. Listen, imagine if we took a brain scan of the woman you want at the moment you look her in the eye, smile, and whisper these very special words. If you compared it to a brain scan of a heroin addict at the moment she injected into her vein, would you be able to tell the difference? Not really. In both cases, you'd see an explosion of dopamine flooding her brain. If you don't know what dopamine is, it's the pleasure chemical. The same chemical released when you share a passionate kiss with someone you've lusted after, or gorge on a delicious steak, or win millions in the lottery. And that hit of dopamine is what motivates every woman on this planet, whether she wants to admit it or not, and without even knowing why. She's going to come to you again and again because you're the only guy who knows how to give her her fix. So, are you ready to feel what it's like to be her sexual drug dealer? Are you ready for astonishingly attractive women to chase you, beg for your attention, ignore their boyfriends, bite their lip, and drag you off into a corner? Are you ready to have women fighting over you, pleading to go home with you, and bringing their sexiest friends along too? Silly question, right? Because if you're still here, we both know the answer is a pretty obvious yes. So here's the deal, and it's just for you. The language of lust is the result of over 5 years of non-stop intensive research, glorious in-person testing and work. Work I did to give women the ecstasy so many idiots in the world tell them they're not allowed to have. See, the language of lust isn't a course or an educational program where I tell you to change who you are to attract women. Instead, it's a collection of almost magical, done-for-you techniques which automatically bore deep into the mind of any woman you use them on and activate her pure, unbridled lust on command and just by saying a few words. The men who have used the language of lust so far say it's like a nuclear bomb in the battle of the sexes. A completely unfair weapon which gives you incredible sexual power over women, even if they completely ignore you now. Here's just a tiny sample of the secrets you're going to learn and the amazing results you're going to almost automatically get when you discover the language of lust today. The Pavlov's Panty Drencher Technique. Use this to condition a woman to become unreasonably turned on and quiver with desire for you every time you whisper a seemingly innocent phrase of your choice in her ear. Warning, Using this in public has been known to draw stares from other men in the room as she immediately soaks her panties, ruins her chair, and gasps like she's just run a sexual marathon. Next, you'll learn how to tickle her emotional G-spot, so she begs to be your personal slut while turning other guys down and insisting she's not that kind of girl to everyone but you. Cool part. Doing this turns all her distaste and shame around the word slut into white-hot lust aimed directly at you. You'll feel like you have sexual superpowers when you learn this next one. I call it the lust mirror technique. This method is so easy to do to a woman, but so powerful. It allows you to create a feedback loop of ravenous lust between you and a girl, where the more turned on you are, the more turned on she gets, until she's aching for you with sexual desperation, pulling you by the belt to the bedroom and staring at you like a very hungry lioness who just stumbled upon a porterhouse steak. Ever wish you just had a remote control for her sex drive? You'll discover the secret power of pleasure resistance and exactly what to say and do when she's not in the mood, to have her gushing, spreading her legs, and breathing heavy in seconds. This next piece is advanced and dangerous. It's called the emotional revenge method, and it instantly triggers a vicious flood of emotions in a woman. Simply using this method instantly wakes up all the buried anger and disappointment she has toward her ex-boyfriends and every man who's ever let her down. You'll see a slightly cruel smile across her lips, a glint in her eye, and you'll lean back and enjoy the ride as she gets back at her ex by giving you the dirty, sweaty time of your life and does things to you and for you she would never do for her ex, no matter how much he begged. The kink exposure method allows you to discover her deepest, most hidden fantasies as easily as taking a picture on your cell phone. Important. Use this method, and you'll know things about her sexual desires she might be scared to admit herself. Which is why I'm also going to teach you how to awaken a woman to her hidden sexuality without even a hint of guilt or shame. And that's just the tip of the erotic iceberg. You'll also discover how to tear down the slut barrier, and how to get the nicest good girl to be very, very bad. The 4-minute eye gaze, and how to create a feeling of closeness and even love almost instantly. Warning, do not use this with a girl you just want to have casual sex with, as it could backfire spectacularly. The orgasm chemical, and how to soak her mind in this potent pleasure drug so she quakes with orgasm at a passing breeze. The dirty from a distance method, and how to give her more pleasure with your thumbs than any other guy could with his whole body and an industrial strength vibrator. The erotic porn script technique. I'll show you how to use texts, Skype, or the phone to create a vivid emotional porn movie in her mind where she's the innocent girl and you're the sex god she'd do anything for. Moment by moment, scene by scene, you'll learn how to use masculine sensuality to activate her feminine need to be taken, ravished, and pleasured in the way only her dream man can. Plus, you'll get the just coffee mind lay. Do this and she'll feel like you had deep, connected, rafter-shaking sex without taking off a single item of clothing and without even touching. The sexual singularity. An incredibly powerful word that hammers her attention to you and makes her feel more desired, lusted after, wanted, and appreciated than any man has ever made her feel before or ever will again. Just whisper this one word in her ear. Watch as a naughty smile crosses her lips. Her eyes glaze over, and she pounces on you, begs for your praise, and then thanks you again and again as she finally understands what sex and pleasure are truly supposed to be about. And that's not even half of what I'm giving you with this incredibly powerful done-for-you system. I don't even have time to tell you about how to talk to her animal and turn off her critical mind so her body can take over. How to access her sexual reward system and have any woman you want more addicted to you than she is to chocolate. The oral intensifier phrase, which makes her feel like you're doing her a favor by letting her go down on you. The new casual sex. Why millions of women are on the prowl for no-strings-attached eroticism, and the incredibly simple signal that tells horny women you're not a creep. and are exactly what she's looking for. And so much more. Okay, can you feel that? That incredible need you feel to know this, to be able to do this, to have this power with women? How much is it worth to have this at your fingertips? How much is it worth to be any woman's ultimate sexual fantasy? How much is it worth to be the master of her imagination? How much is it worth to know you can fix any problem that happens with your girlfriend, wife, or a woman you just met just by whispering a few magic words? After all, I've never met a woman who could stay mad at a guy who made her come so hard it's like the space shuttle breaking orbit. I don't want to bring you down here, but I see so many guys who are pissed off and miserable every day because they don't understand women and what women really want. These guys get browbeaten and nagged by their girlfriends, commit to women they shouldn't just to get laid, waste hundreds or thousands of dollars trying to make her happy and failing miserably. Even worse are the guys who bitch and moan about never getting laid and never having a girlfriend at all, who spend so much money whining and dining girls who just string you along and insult you for being a wimp behind your back, but who just don't understand the psychology of feminine attraction and need. So think about that for a second, keeping that solid in your mind. What do you think would be a fair price for the language of lust? What do you think would be a fair price to finally be in control of your sexual life, to have all the power and to be able to live out every dirty fantasy you've ever wanted, and to have women thanking you for the honor of screwing your brains out? If you're being completely honest, I bet you'd say that $497 or more would be totally fair to open the endless sea of gorgeous thighs that have been closed to you for so long. Heck, I bet you'd think that was cheap to never have to feel that frustration and anxiety with women again. But you know what? I'm not a rich guy. Like you, I have to work for every dime I make. And I know that even when you want something so much and know it's a total steal at the price you're paying, sometimes doubt and hesitation make it so you just can't give yourself what you need. Which is why I'm going to do something kind of risky here. Not a risk to you, but a big risk to me. See, my mission in life is to give regular guys like you incredible sexual power, and to get revenge on the moralistic lies that are holding women's sexual desires hostage. And if I have to take a hit to my wallet to accomplish my mission, that's just the way it is. So because you've given me your precious time and listened to everything I've had to say, you're not going to pay $497. I'm not even going to ask you to invest a brutally cheap $297. For you, I'm setting the price of the language of lust at just one single payment of $97. And if you take action right now, I'll give you another 50% off that already discounted price. Simply click the button below right now, and you'll get the complete Language of Lust program for the discounted price of just 47 measly bucks. But you have to act right now. I know what it's like to hem and haw and think about it. But my marketing guy is telling me that I simply can't sell a system this life-changing and this powerful for just $47. He's demanding that I eliminate the discount entirely and charge you full price because we just give too much for $47. If you're still seeing this page, it means he hasn't forced me to cancel the discount yet. But please, if you come back in a few hours or tomorrow, you can't get the discount anymore. Please don't write me begging. If you pass it up now, there's just nothing I can do for you. And just to take away every excuse you might have not to give this to yourself and to the dozens of women you're going to share this with, I'm going to back everything I've set up with a truly astonishing guarantee. Here's how it works. Just enroll in the Language of Lust program right now, use the material, it's so easy to use and completely done for you. See for yourself how easy it is to have incredible sex with sexy, smart, sober women who know what they're doing and want more using these tested, proven techniques. If you don't think the program is worth at least double what you're paying today, just contact my customer service at support@digitalromanceinc.com anytime in the next 60 days. And you'll get every dime back as fast as we can. Why am I being so generous? Because I'm a guy. Just like you. I know what it's like to feel like you have to destroy who you are to try to make women happy. And it doesn't make them happy at all, does it? And I want you to experience what it's like to be sexually worshipped as a man. And if I have to put myself out there a bit to help you, I'm glad to do just that. It's worth it. And all you have to do is click the button below. Okay, if you're not convinced yet, let me do one more thing to knock you off the log. I want to make this easy for you. I want you to feel all the way deep in your bones that you're getting an incredible deal that you can be proud of. That's why I've got 3 very special bonuses for you just for saying yes to the language of lust today. First, I'll give you my Unlocking the Threesome Code training absolutely free. I'll tell you right now, if you haven't looked down to see 2 gorgeous girls French kissing around your cock, you simply haven't lived. In Unlocking the Threesome Code, I'll teach you a simple sequence of psychological hacks to awaken a woman's buried bisexual curiosity. So she finds herself suddenly lusting after girls, craving their touch, and thinking you're doing her a favor when you finally agree to let her bring another girl into the bedroom with you. Always wished you could have a sex life as adventurous and amazing as what you see online? Your wish will come true when you see this next bonus. I call it personal porn star activation. And it gets the shyest woman not only to watch porn with you, but to take notes and try out what she sees on the screen. I promise you'll be shocked and will feel a wide smile spread across your face when you look down and feel like you're suddenly inside your own personal porn movie. Your third present is something a bit shocking. In fact, I can't give this to everyone. But if you act right now, you'll get The Nice Guy's Guide to Texting Dirty. My private collection of done-for-you dirty texts, over 200 tested and proven romance novel quality texts that use the secret erotic language of women to automatically turn her on. What's amazing about these texts is that they start turning up the heat with a girl you have your eye on before you even have your first date, and cut the time it takes to get her naked, sweaty, and screaming your name by days or even weeks. So let's add this all up just so you can see for yourself what a great deal you're getting. With your special discount, you'll get the complete Language of Lust program for just $47. We already agreed that the Language of Lust is worth at least $197 by itself, so getting 75% off that is already a pretty great deal. But then you're also getting Unlocking the Threesome Code, Personal Porn Star Activation, and The Nice Guy's Guide to Texting Dirty. And each of these would sell for $97 or more by themselves. Except they're only available as part of this special package, so you can't get them anywhere else. If you were checking out at Home Depot, that would all add up to $588. By using your special discount code, you'll get everything for just $47. I don't know about you, but if I was at the store and got $600 worth of stuff for less than $50, I'd feel like I was ripping them off. All you have to do to take advantage of this amazing deal is click the big button below this video right now. Then fill in your payment details using a credit card, debit card, or PayPal on the next page. Once you do that, you'll get your special private login credentials, which you must not share with anyone. So you can access the Language of Lust on your phone, tablet, or computer anywhere you want, anytime you need it. Click the button below right now. Pay your severely discounted enrollment fee. Use the methods, techniques, scripts, and texts I give you. No creative work required on your part at all. Experience for yourself what it's like to have women objectify you, lust after you, use you for sex. Feel what it's like to have other guys be insanely jealous of you, begging to know your secrets, wondering how the hell you managed to become every woman's fantasy without working out or spending a dime. Experience how much fun you can have with women fulfilling her fantasies and having her eagerly fulfill yours. Feel a level of sexual satisfaction and adventure most guys will never get to experience. You're going to be amazed at how your life changes once you learn this. How women just look at you differently. How you can get away with things that would get other guys slapped across the face. How girls who said they just thought of you as a friend find themselves ignoring other guys and thinking only of you. If you're like most guys who have tried this, you're going to have a hard time wiping the goofy smile off your face, or keeping that evil spark out of your eye. Okay, it's time to take action. You're at a crossroads right now, just like I was so many months ago before I went on the journey that led us right here, right now. And you really just have two very different options, leading to two very different lives, and two very different stories you'll be telling years from now on your deathbed. Option one is you leave this page without enrolling in the program. Become another sad victim of the feminist nightmare and the lies you've been told about women and sex. I think you already know what will happen if you do this. That feeling of failure and inadequacy in your heart, that sense that you made a huge mistake, didn't take an opportunity you wanted so much, that growing frustration and agony as the hot, gorgeous women you want just seem to get further and further away, that feeling of constant, devastating shame. We both know you don't want that, which is why you should get out of your own way and take road number 2. Just say yes right now. Click the button. Enter your payment information right now before life gets in the way and enroll in the language of lust. Get everything I've talked about in this video. Learn the secret language of feminine lust, the magic words that send a flood of pleasure through her whole body and make her ravenous for you, and only you. Be one of the very few guys who still get to act like and feel like a guy and have women adore you for it. With my 60-day guarantee, you're risking nothing. And with this special discount, you're getting way more than half off. Let me leave you with one final lesson. Do you know what women find irresistibly attractive in men? No, not confidence. That's total BS. Decisiveness. The ability to see something you want, and you can feel you want this so much, and go after it. If you feel like there's a canyon between you and women, if you aren't getting your emotional and physical fantasies so much more than met, if women aren't abundant and available to you, if you've ever been in a relationship where the sex died and you didn't know how to bring it back, just make a tiny, easy decision right now. I've already unlocked the door. All you have to do is walk through it right now, before it's too late and it's slammed shut in your face. I hope you understand that I've stacked the deck so much in your favor that you can't lose. Actually, there is one way you can lose. By walking away from this wonderful opportunity. But you've suffered and wanted and craved incredible sex with incredible women long enough. Just click the button below. I personally promise you'll be happy you did. Again, I'm Lawrence Lanoff, and I can't wait to hear about your success with the language of lust. Oh, and remember when I said I wanted revenge on the society that made being a man something dirty and shameful? Well, I got my revenge, and it was sweaty and passionate and very, very sweet. And I want you to have your revenge too, but I can only do that if you click the button right now. This is your one chance to have the sex and the power you've always wanted. Don't give up. Don't walk away. Click the button right now.